It's time for Talon Talk with the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade on AFN the Eagle, serving America's best.
It's 10 minutes past 2 o'clock. It is a Wednesday afternoon, which can only mean one thing. It is time for Talon Talk with the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade. I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Caitlin Jones, hanging out with you. I'm super feeling the girl power today, by the way. It's awesome. I've got Captain Meyer from the 2CAB Public Affairs Office. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is your first time on the show with me. It's very exciting.
Exactly.
I told you, I told Sergeant Smith last week, I don't know if you were listening to the shout-outs. I said, I'm going to get Captain Meyer on this show solo before I leave Korea. And look, here you are, just a week later.
It was fate.
Wishes do come true, ma'am.
Well, tis the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought an awesome special guest with us today. Introduce us.
I brought Lieutenant Sarah Jeon. She is the first female Korean-American Apache pilot, and she is here in 2CAB, so we are very fortunate to have her.
Wow. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I'm honored to be here. I was kind of doing a little bit of stalking. And I saw about you going up to the Women's University in Seoul and talking to them. So cool. How long have you been stationed with the 2CAB now?
About 8 months and some change.
8 months. And you're Korean American. So were you born in the States, born here? How does that whole thing work?
I was born in the States, in California.
Very cool.
I lived there all my life.
Awesome. So how is it being back here in Korea? Or being here in Korea. Is this your first time?
Yes, first time.
Okay.
I mean, I've visited here a couple of times with family, about a week or two each time. But other than that, I mean, I guess I'm excited to be here and kind of coming back to my roots,
Absolutely. Very cool. How long have you been in the Army, ma'am?
About 2 years and some change as well.
Okay, very cool. Well, welcome. We are so glad to have you. We're going to talk about what it's like being a female Apache pilot, which is just cool on its own. Like, that's one of probably the coolest thing I've heard today, at least. So we're going to talk about that. Also going to talk about some of your heritage, advice you can give to females that are maybe wanting to join the Army and maybe wanting to be an aviator. I know I grew up watching helicopters thinking that'd be a cool job, but then I became a radio host.
Which is kind of cool, too.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Kind
it
of.
has it. Thanks for trying to make me feel better, ma'am. I appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for.
So we are going to be doing all of that right here on Talon Talk. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a check of your weather coming up right after this. .225 back here on Talon Talk. I got Captain Meyer with me and Lieutenant Jeon from the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade hanging out. LT, I've had other aviators on that are like, that's a such and such helicopter in our sounds. And I'm like, cool. Can you identify the helicopter that's in our thing?
Oh.
Ooh, you put her on the spot.
I know. Yeah, it's the kind of helicopter that has blades. That's what I always tell everybody. It's the one that flies in the air. No, it's awesome. So we are hanging out. Lieutenant Jeon is an aviator over at the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade. You fly Apaches.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is the coolest thing pretty much ever in the history of all the things, right?
Yes.
Is there like a competition? I know there's a competition in the Air Force and between like pilots that fly different airframes. You got the A-10 guys that think they're the best. You got the, F-16 guys that think they kind of own the skies. Is it like that in the Army too? You guys kind of have a friendly competition between airframes?
I think so.
What makes the Apache the best one out of all of them?
We look the coolest.
Oh, that is a definite. I think that's the best answer.
I can tell you it sells on Facebook. So
absolutely, from the PA perspective. So Lieutenant Jeon grew up in California, correct?
Correct.
Very cool. Did you always grow up kind of wanting to join the Army?
To be honest, not. My eyes weren't set on the Army, but I always wanted to go to West Point.
Okay.
So
Very
from there,
cool.
and that kind of nurtured me into wanting to become an Army officer.
That's it's kind of a lofty goal growing up of wanting to go to West Point. What kind of steered you in that direction?
So when I was 11, I actually watched a documentary on the National Geographic's channel with my dad. It's called Surviving West Point, and ever since I've just been inspired and wanting to go.
So now that you've actually gone to West Point and graduated, obviously, I assume you graduated because she's sitting here. That's right.
I think she did.
Okay.
I can confirm that.
Thank you, Public Affairs. How is it kind of going through the experience versus, the documentary that you watched?
Oh, it was different. I mean, the media makes things look
super
a lot
intense.
cooler, and the music.
So you're saying
and
West Point
everything.
wasn't cool?
West Point was cool. It was cool, but not as cool as the documentary, if you know what I'm saying.
So you're giving a shout out to public affairs professionals?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Woo woo. Was it intimidating? You always hear stuff about, the military academies, especially West Point, kind of being like, really hard, really challenging, physically, mentally, academically. See, I have words. Was it as challenging as you thought it was going to be going to West Point?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of challenges going through that school, but I think that anyone who puts their mind to it and doesn't give up and keeps trying, and there's so many resources there that could help you, I think anyone can graduate. I don't think it's impossible, or people think that it's
People
I
get
don't really know.
too wrapped up in I can't do it and
Exactly.
it's too hard, but really when you just get there and take it day by day and make it happen.
Exactly.
Very cool. So you go to West Point, then you go to pilot training, and so you're in training. And do you guys get to select your aircraft when you're going through training? How does that kind of process work?
Okay, you go through Common Core, so that's the basic flight school portion where you're flying TH-67s, learning how to fly and all of that. At the end of that process, you go through a selection process, and that's depending on your rank, you can choose which aircraft you want. So
Very cool. And you chose the Apache
I did.
because it looks the coolest.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the most awesome.
And it sells.
And it sells. And it's most popular on Facebook.
Sure.
That's really what it was, Captain Meyer.
Definitely. That's what I'm going to go with.
So you get the Apache, and then you get orders here to Korea for the 2-cap.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So we're going to talk about that a little bit coming up next, and kind of advice you have maybe for other people out there that want to kind of follow in your footsteps. So we'll talk about that coming up next right here on Talon Talk. Stay tuned.
And now, back to Talon Talk on AFN the Eagle, serving America's best.
2:40 now, back on Talon Talk. Got Captain Meyer and Lieutenant Jeon from the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade over at Camp Humphreys hanging out with me. And we've been talking to Lieutenant Jeon, who is a Korean American who is an aviator over at 2-Cab. I'm gonna get it right, Captain Meyer.
One day.
You're giving me the evil look. I'm a little scared. I'm getting a little nervous. And she has been going around. Like I said, I saw the story about you heading up to the university in Seoul to kind of talk to some of the ROTC cadets up there. What do you kind of say when you went on that trip? What kind of advice are you giving to the ROTC cadets here in Korea?
I mean, the biggest advice I gave to them was don't listen to anybody if they're talking smack or whatnot. I guess it was a female class of ROTC cadets, so I think what they wanted to hear and the questions that they asked were geared towards the difficulties of being a female. And so to cater to those questions, I pretty much said don't listen to them. And if you just try your best, never give up, work hard,
That's good advice for
everything.
anybody.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not just females, but everything will kind of fall in place if you do the right thing.
Absolutely. So you're stationed here at Camp Humphreys. Having that Korean heritage, what did kind of your parents or the rest of your family say when you told them hey, my first duty station is Korea? This is kind of cool.
Oh, well, they were expecting it because I chose Korea
Oh,
for
okay.
my first station, and they were excited. And that kind of gave them an opportunity or an excuse to come up here and spend
Definitely.
some money.
Absolutely. My one of my first duty stations was in Italy, and my family was the same way. But we're not Italian. They were just like, Italy, cool. Buy a ticket.
My first duty station was Germany. They did
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. Are you German?
I am not German.
Oh, yeah, see? So, it's just cool to come visit a new place. So, do you have any, like, specific goals while you're stationed here?
I do. My primary goal, I would say, as an aviator is to become pilot in command. And I think that's every aviator's goal, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with pilot in command, but it's pretty much you are now taking charge of the aircraft.
Oh,
you know,
okay, cool.
Once you become that. So right now I'm kind of like still a student, still learning and still trying to balance, being a platoon leader and also, studying and doing the pilot stuff. So
Yeah.
that's my goal, primary goal here. I mean, I have other side goals like volunteering. I want to volunteer a lot more here, but
Good goals. Good goals for anybody. Absolutely. Be a leader, get out and volunteer a little bit. And, what advice do you have for maybe younger kids, maybe high school kids that are listening, or maybe young soldiers about, your experience at West Point? What would you say to people that maybe look at you and like, she graduated from West Point, she flies an Apache, I totally want to be her when I grow up?
I mean, like I said, it's just all kind of cliche phrases, but they are true. Work hard and never give up. And if you stick to that concept, stay fit, and you carry your own weight, then no one can say anything to bring you down. I think my dad used to always tell me, "No pain, no gain."
I like
and that
it.
became my favorite phrase. Kind of, it's not very like positive or happy, but it's true. So there are going to be obstacles and there's going to be a lot of pain, whether it's personal, professional, emotional, whatever, but just staying strong, moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some great advice, ma'am. Thank you so much. We're going to come back and do a few shout outs right here on Talon Talk. Stay tuned. Taking a look at your weather, 56 degrees, kind of scattered clouds around the area. Going to be like that for the rest of your evening. Overnight lows around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, high of 58 under partly cloudy skies with a low of 40. And expect some rain on Friday with highs in the low 50s. Your exchange fuel prices, unleaded at $3.02, premium at $3.40, and diesel at $3.79. And your exchange rate over at the DoD Community Bank, $1 will get you 1,085 Korean won. I've got Captain Meyer and Lieutenant Jeon from the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade that have been hanging out with me here on Talon Talk, and we're about to close it out, but first, got some shout-outs. LT, you are the guest. I will yield the mic to you. Who do you want to send a shout-out to today?
Thank you. First off, my amazing parents, Jacob and Sunny Jeon, and my brothers, Joseph and Johnny, and my best buddies, my confidants, you guys know who you are, my mentors, and my NCOs back in Delta Company who've always had my back, and they've pretty much nurtured me throughout my first platoon leader experience here. And finally, my Alpha Company mates over in Alpha Company.
Whoop, whoop. Awesome. Captain Meyer, you got any shout-outs for us today?
I do. I'd like to give a big shout out to those Talon warriors that were out competing in Toughest Talon this week.
I saw the pictures from that.
It was rough.
It looked insane.
It was.
Wow.
So a whole day of large events and hard, grueling tasks that they completed. 602nd ended up coming out the winners, so congratulations to them. And then to my two public affairs soldiers that are covering the Sergeant Major of the Army's visit out at Camp Humphreys. Work hard when I get back. I hope you guys have everything ready for me.
Captain Meyer is watching you. And I just want to give a shout out to Captain Meyer for showing up and having a show with me today. Thank you.
Yay.
Like I said, wishes come true, ma'am.
They do. 'Tis the season.
I know. I hope to see you back here on another Talon Talk
Definitely.
sometime soon.
For sure.
Okay, awesome. And Lieutenant Jeon, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping
Thank you
by
for having me.
and hanging out with us. This has been Talon Talk.